Hello, friends, neighbors, and pals. It's Tony, and welcome back to the Rhinestone Room. Here, brought to you by The Vegas Voice, thevegasvoice.net, for all of your Vegas voice needs. Thank you so much for returning back to Tony's Rhinestone Room. And as you know, we always have magnificent and fabulous and special guests. Guests that nobody else has. By the way, I, at Tony's Rhinestone Room, am the only one to get exclusive permission to interview these people, and then because they're my dear, dear friends. Magnificent people, wonderful talents, and you already know them. Ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman, you know, probably don't recognize his face as much as you recognize his fingers, because he is the fabulous flying fingers of Mr. Philip Fortenberry. See, they don't recognize your face.
Nor do I.
Good to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much. You look so spiffy today.
Thank you.
Goodness.
I took a shower.
Yeah, I love it.
For a walk, went home, and I said, oh, I have an interview to do.
I love your hair.
Oh, thank you.
Too. It looks like you just got off a horse. It's very windblown. Like you've been on a horse on a beach.
Yeah. You know, I did ride a camel once.
Did you really?
No, but not recently. Years ago, I did. I was on a cruise. Really? And I was in Egypt. And they said, let's go ride a camel. I said, I must.
How funny.
So I did. Yeah, I have this fabulous picture of me on a camel.
Was it a one hump or a two hump?
It was one hump. One big hump.
So that's a camel, because two humps is a dromedary. I believe that's a dromedary. Okay. Yeah. I once had to see a man about a hump, or a camel about a hump. Oh,
what hump?
I screwed that joke up, didn't I?
What hump?
What hump? I am so excited that you are with me.
Thank you.
Keith, Philip and I say Keith because Keith and Phil are like two amazing people that work together and produce together and perform together. And so sometimes I get their names mixed up because they're not the same person at all. But they're very interlocked professionally.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? So sometimes I call you Keith and sometimes I call him Phil. But Philip and I, we have worked together on many, many different shows and some great projects. And I'm very excited about a project that's coming up in May. In fact, it's May 31st, and it's called Rhinestones and Keys. And I'm very excited about it because it's a show concept that I had come up with a couple years ago about doing with Philip. Philip and I, we've done Cato Cabaret together. Yes. We've done a lot of presentations with the Community Lutheran Church here in Las Vegas, which is on Tropicana and Sand Hill. And we've done some other great shows together. God Lives in Glass. Yep. That was fabulous. Those of you who saw that. So we've done some great stuff together. But this is something I wanted to do with you and show off a lot of people don't realize what a great entertainer Philip is, because you are so known. Well, you're so known for just, I don't want to say just, but being behind the piano, right? And doing what you do behind the piano, which is a gift and an amazing art in itself. But you as an entertainer on the stage, being who you are, I wanted to pull that out of you, and I got it. And I was so excited when we did Rhinestones and Keys last year. It was fun,
actually. I didn't expect that I would enjoy myself as much as I did.
Really?
Yeah, but I was, what I really loved about it was joining in the spontaneity with you. Yeah. The creative, the Aria that we wrote. One of my favorite moments ever on stage. Tony and I decided, we wanted to do an aria. He has this beautiful, big voice. And I always felt like I would love to hear you do some serious piece.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a great entertainer. But you can be just as entertaining with the right aria, too. Right. Couldn't find one. So we decided, let's create our own. But it has to have certain elements that are always in opera, from recitative to a good laugh, We
came up with that. We were at a dinner party, You and I were at a dinner party, and
we were very funny.
Philip went right to the piano at this. I think it was Rebecca Spencer's house.
It was at her house.
It was at Rebecca Spencer's house, and Philip went to the piano, and he just started playing something just so grandiose, and it was just amazing. I went, wow, and all I did was and he just kept, and we just meshed it together, and we made this, and we made up this entire aria, and it was absolutely amazing. And we couldn't stop laughing at each other and said, that's going to go into the show.
You know what? I have an idea about what to do on the next one.
Really?
But they have to come and see it.
Yeah, you have to come and see it because I don't even know what this idea is.
I know. It's a brilliant idea, actually.
But a wonderful thing about working with you, because we've been friends for almost 20 years and we have a lot of laughs. And
for 20 years.
Philip always reminds me, especially after a glass of Chardonnay, he always reminds me that it was our connection of laughter that helped him and Keith settle in here to Las Vegas, because you guys felt like a fish out of water coming from New York City, and Broadway to here, and then we met through a mutual friend, and we just started laughing and just connected that way. And
it was laughter that made me feel like I was going to be okay.
Really?
You know, up until that point we had met, you know, you don't know anybody. So you find yourself, I found myself being, you know, ever so slightly polite.
You're right.
You know?
Yes, you were.
And, you know, and at the end of the day, whenever I met you guys, and I laughed from my soul so deeply, it's like that's when I knew I was going to be okay. And, you know, if I'm the funniest person in the room, there's a problem. You know, and I didn't know I had not met anybody. Funny, you know, and they're Keith and me looking at each other, and it's like, and you know, we were not finding the joy of life, you know, and then suddenly, you know, but you're genuinely funny, you know. Some people are like comedians, and they can like put on, but you just are. And when you're in the presence of such, I don't know, joy of life, joy of living, and such a light. And with a hearty laugh, it's like you can't help but get caught up in that. It makes you feel okay. It's like laughter is the best medicine. It was the thing that made me be okay here.
Really?
Yeah. And I was grateful that we actually became friends.
Yes.
It's like one of those things, you know, because we were meeting so many people initially. And,
I remember,
you know, most of the time, it's just the people in your show that you know. You know, I met Nikki Scalera, like one of the first people I met here. She's like, the fact that we became friends, and she's like family in our world now, and that we've got to create this show together. It's like, you know, the longevity and the legacy and everything like that. You're just looking for substantial people in your life, you know, and the fact that in the beginning, it's like, you know, these people they're not going to be, you know, in our lives really. We'll enjoy the moment, move on, go back to, you know, focusing on my show. And then who knows if I'm going to even stay in Vegas. And then at the same time, 20 years later, you find yourself having quite a history. You know?
Well, what brought you to Vegas was the show We Will Rock You. And isn't that where you met Nikki Scalera? And so, and then Nikki ended up staying in Las Vegas. You guys ended up staying in Las Vegas, and all of us. I know. And here's the funny thing: everybody thinks that the entertainment people, especially in this town, in this very small town, all of us know one another, and that's really not true. We know a lot of people, but there's very few of us that really stay connected as friends. Because I need, and I think you do too. In fact, I know you do. We need real people in our lives, and not just the showbiz entertainment people. I don't need that. What I need are real people that I can laugh and I can have fun with, I can share with, and then hopefully be productive with and produce with and so forth. And so the great thing about doing this show that we have coming up with Nikki Scalera is called Rhinestones and Keys. And Nikki is in the show with us. So Keith is, I mean, see, I did it again. I know. Keith, he's like his ghost. He's like his spirit. He's like a spiritual ninja that gets in the middle of everything, right?
Everything.
So, but Phil and I, we're doing this show on May 31st with Nikki Scalera. We call it Rhinestones and Keys. Go to TonyArias.com. We'll be performing it at the Composers Room in Las Vegas. It's a show unlike you've seen before, especially with the three of us. in it, and I'm very, very excited about it. And I'm excited that you're going to be a part of it.
Thank you for inviting me.
And that you're here, and that we finally get to share you with the rest of the world here at the Vegas Voice.
You know, you gave me my break in this town.
Oh,
you did. Yes, absolutely. Well, you know what? I came here from New York. I had been like a Broadway show player in a pit all the time. Yeah. You invited me to play a solo one time on one of your shows at Flamingo Library, and I panicked because no one had ever invited me to play a solo. I didn't know what to play. Yeah. You know, a recital piece.
That almost makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
It was a holiday show, and I asked Philip, and you would have thought I slapped him with a dead cat. I asked him, I said, would you play Oh Holy Night on the piano for this holiday presentation? Yeah. And he looked at me just so crazy like, and I went, what is that? And then you told me after the show, you said, no one's ever asked me just to play a solo.
No.
Just me. And I went, how could they not? It's just as amazing to me.
You
absolutely amazing.
Opened up a whole other, it was the beginning of a whole other experience of my life, of myself even, you know. So thank you.
Thank you. I love him. I love you.
I love you too.
You know how much I love you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Philip Fortenberry, and a very, very dear friend, and I just adore him. Please go to TonyArias.com for all the shows that are coming up. Our show is Rhinestones and Keys, guest starring Nikki Scalera. You're going to love it. Thank you so much, and thank you to all the wonderful people at the Vegas Voice. Take care. Till next time in Tony's Rhinestone Room. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.